Hey guys, what's up? I'm a part-time options trader, and this is my technical analysis of the markets and some of my positions. Typically, all the technical analysis is done using candlestick charts. I found that the line charts help me more in the short term than the candlestick charts, and I'm going to show some of those uh, things in my video here. So let's get on to it. So the first one, let's look at the markets now. So in the left, I have in here the 195 minutes chart. So 195 is pretty much half a day. I'm not going with 4 hours because not exactly 4 hours. 195 kind of splits in between. And to the right, I have a weekly chart. Now this is a candlestick chart. This gives me an idea on a weekly basis. So looking at SPY right now, if you see in here, um, there's a little bit of chop that is going on down here, but the chop is kind of hidden in the background. You can see in here the white line that moves up and down in here. This is the actual price movement. However, um, the the line that I'm using is something is called a zero lag line. Basically, it kind of splits between the days range, and that line is drawn in green in here. So I don't have to see the daily chop and up and down things like that. So once I have that thing in place, I have the trend line put in here, the trend line on the peaks and the lows. Now I can pick the last two major peaks. This looks like last two major peaks in here for me, and these two as the major lows. And you can see in here overall it looks like a downtrend. Now additionally, what I like to do is put some um, resistances. So if I take the last kind of, it need not be the same peaks and lows that I use for the trend line. Sometimes it gets blurred, but for the resistant peaks I can use the horizontal line. So I'm going to draw the horizontal line in here. All right, so once I draw the horizontal line, now it gives me an idea on where it is actually located. So this is the line that I'm looking for support, and this line I'm looking for as resistance. Now, two things I look uh, for it to kind of change or a reverse course in here. This green line should actually break this trend line, that is the yellow line here, and should break the red line in here, which is the resistance line here. Now, before this comes and touches in here, the price should actually move way up in here, and that's why I don't follow exactly the price. I'm just following the zero lag line. And even though the price technically has broken both of these trend and resistance, I'm just going to wait for a few days for it to actually um, for my zero lag to cross in here. So as of now, I'm just bearish. It looks like it's still in a downtrend. I'm going to wait for a few more days. What I do in the weekly chart is look at where the trend is. Now this is the zero lag on the weekly, the green line, and uh, for the downtrend, I use the last red candle. Right, so I'm going to just go draw a box around it. So, right, so this is my box. That's the last to last week's box in there. Now you can see in here clearly the last week candle is below it. For a reversal, I would typically like to have the start or at least the end to be above the red candle box. So right now it doesn't look like that. So my stand still holds to the downside for coming week. Now this can change in a flash, right? So on the weekly trend, I don't follow until it's end of the week, but on a daily trend, if this breaks up, then I start arranging my positions, managing my positions in whichever direction that I want the market is showing me. Going on to the Nasdaq, I'm going to put the same things in here. The Nasdaq looks a little different in here. Now you can see if I put my primary trend from this to this peak and low, but there are few prominent highs and peaks and lows in here as well. So I'm putting a trend line on the two latest lows, and I'm putting the trend line on the two latest peaks. I'm going to take this away. It doesn't matter now. And this two peaks in lows in here, now it has been negated by these two, so I'm going to take this one off. Let's see. All right, so how now it shows me like a bull flag right now. So our flag pattern that's coming in here, and whichever direction it breaks off is my part. So it looks like it's already broken this um, trend in here. Now they'll do the same thing with the resistance um, and the support. So looks like a nice double bottom. And so even though it has broken the trend in here, it doesn't look like it's broken the top side risk in here. So but it's very near. So I'm going to keep an open eye on this one, closely watch it the next few days, and probably as soon as it breaks, and reverse my positions in here. Right. So that's how I would go. Now, what you see in here is the 13-day exponential, which is basically a 9-day moving average, and this is the 34-day exponential, which is basically a 21-day moving average. So I just like to use exponential, but if you want, you can replace it with moving average as well. Now, the third thing that I look for is my green line, which is zero lag. I call this green line because that's what I follow. You can see the price is at around 271 in here, right? So the price is here, but my zero line is showing still at 267, 268 range. But that gives me a realistic picture of where the average price is for that particular time. So if it actually crosses beyond the 13-day EMA, that gives me a second confirmation, and if it is above the 34-day EMA, that's my final confirmation to go really up in here, right? So that's how I look at QQQ. Moving on to IWM, this looks like a clear downtrend, right? So this two major peaks in here, two major lows. Draw the trend line. It is way going down in here. There's no point in drawing the resistance in here because it's nowhere close. So this is going to take some time to correct itself. So I'm totally bearish, not even trying to look at it right now. A few of my positions, and these are all my positions actually. So all are options, all are long-term leaves that I have, and I like to play with leaves because um, uh, the time decay is pretty low. Even though it's expensive, it's pretty low. So the ups and downs will be minimal even if the markets move drastically, right? So it almost behaves as if you have bought a stock, but again, unlike stock, it wouldn't go proportionately up or down, right? So any percent increase in Apple may be like 5-6% in the options uh, pricing term. Then again, I'm good with that, because if Apple moves like 10% up, I'll be 50% up in my position, and then I can make a decision to take profits, sell it, close my positions, things like that. So that is my idea on that one, and that's why I play primarily on the options part. If it's um, with short term, then the decay is so much that either I go to zero and then I get freaked out and get out of the trade, but that doesn't happen on my long-term leaps positions in there. So let's look at Apple in here. Apple very much looks like it is reversing trend. Same thing applies. The trend line drawn here, the resistance line drawn here is breaking. It broke the trend line, broke the upper resistance, is trying to break the 13 EMA. Should be a good thing for me to get into some positions, additional positions in here. All right, so maybe reverse my short positions to my long positions. Next, let's take a look at EMD. EMD similarly trying to break out of the trend, downward trend, trying to break out of the resistance in here and the 13 EMA, and looks good for me in there. If I look at the weekly chart in here, this is very promising, right? So as I said, I look at the weekly charts as well, just to kind of draw where the last week ended, and where I see the last week ended, right? So last week it kind of started way below the previous week, and it ended way above it. So this is like an engulfing candle on a weekly, and it looks good for me. Next favorite is my Microsoft stock. Let's take a look at it. Huge drop from the peak in here, but again this looks like a nice reversal in here, right? So this is broken all three: the trend, the resistances, the top resistances, my 13 EMA, and now it's approaching my 34 EMA. This is like a huge win for me. Now I'm going to put in all. If I had to put some trades tomorrow on this one, I would probably put it on Microsoft, and probably this green would probably be touching in here if we don't see any kind of a fall. If it falls tomorrow, yeah, so just wait for a bit, maybe try the green line, test this red line here, just like this in here, test it, maybe it bounces, but I will just wait for that. But if it touches the orange tomorrow, that's a definite kind of a long term long position, and looks like a definite reversal. All right, so let's not try to go on the rest of the items in here. I think I'll wrap it up here. Thanks for watching.